Hey everybody, welcome to Deep Dive into StockCharts.com. This is our other show that I do on Saturdays where we talk about a particular feature in great detail, take a lot of questions from the audience. This is the time where I can really get in and help you understand a particular topic to a really deep amount of capabilities. So I'm here today with, we're live with my good friend Rachel. We are taking questions. We've got the chat room open to answer questions. Again, the goal here is to help you understand a key feature of StockCharts. And today's key feature is StockChartsACP. We're going to be digging into that. This is actually kind of an update of a previous show that I did. I did a show a couple months ago, and I told people about ACP and where it was. It's come a long way since then, and we're going to be seeing all the different new capabilities that it has. In addition, I've got, I also want to show you a new feature that just launched on the site literally yesterday. It's our symbol summary feature. We're going to spend a little time on that. And then finally, I've got a very surprising announcement at the end of this show. This is the first time anybody's going to hear this new announcement. It's going to be very exciting. So a couple of FAQs to go ahead. This is just like with all of our shows. We are recording it. You'll be able to see it later again if you need to. You can ask questions anytime in the Slido chat box. Please try and keep the questions on topic. That would be great. If we get to the very end of the show and we still have time, I'll take kind of any question from anybody about anything. But during the show, let's try and stay on topic. And feel free in the chat box right now to say hi to Rachel. She'd love to hear from you. And then there is a downloadable version of these slides. Here's the link. So you can go there right now if you want to, grab those slides and follow along. Or after the show's over, you can come to this link, download the slides, and then you'll be able to read through them anytime you want. So hopefully that works. The numbers at the end there, it's 2020, and then 02 for February, and 01 for the first day of February. All right, so with that, here's the agenda for today. We're going to talk about the symbol summary feature. That's what we're going to do first. And then we're going to get into ACP and all the different things. I've got a couple of different demos for you. Like I said, a big announcement at the end. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks towards the end as well. Again, ask Q&A throughout the show. The symbol summary, basically, I don't even have any slides for that. We're just going to dive right in and do a demo. So this particular show has got a lot of demos, a lot of ad hoc kind of things. Hopefully everything goes well. We'll see. It's always fun doing live demos on the air. We will, so symbol summary is essentially where we're going to give you a whole lot of new information about an individual stock, specifically fundamental information combined with technical information in kind of a tabular view. And so it's available in a couple of different places, and we will be making it available in more places shortly. One place is you just click on the drop down at the top here where normally you would type in a stock and get a chart. You can click on that drop down, select symbol summary, and then type a ticker symbol, and you will be taken to the symbol summary page. We'll talk about the page here in just a second. Let me show you one other way you can get to the symbol summary. This one might even be more convenient for you. Whenever you're looking at a sharp chart, okay, such as here's a sharp chart, we can scroll down to the bottom, and now there's a new collection of links at the very bottom of the sharp charts page for all the different kinds of tools that we have, including the symbol summary, which is the first one here. You can click on any of these links to go to any of those tools, but you can also just click on the symbol summary link and boom, you're right there. So that's kind of convenient. We will be integrating symbol summary in even more throughout the site over time. So again, the symbol summary is a great page for just viewing what's going on with the stock right now, and especially what kind of fundamental information can I learn about the stock. What things like PE ratio, but also now we've got earnings dates and earnings information, as well as a lot of other information here, technicals. We have an area for our scooter ranking, so you can see the scooter rank, both its current value as well as the historical values of the scooter ranks. And there will be earnings history and analysis ratings coming soon. We're still working on that. And then a profile of the company. Also, we will go ahead and do searches throughout our database for any time that you use this company or stored this company in your account if you're a StockCharts member. So if there are any alerts or predefined scans that you've created or any chart lists that you've created. then that contain that particular symbol, then we'll show those to you. So all of that information is here on one page. We also will be expanding this page more. As you can see, we've got some stuff coming soon, and there'll be more stuff as well. The final thing I want to mention is that we are working on integrating this new data. This is new. This all data is coming from the FactSet database, which we now have access to. And we're working on integrating that data into our charting features. So right now, what you're seeing here on the symbol summary page is a snapshot of all this information. You're seeing the current values. Down the road, this information will be available in the scan engine, so you can scan for it. It'll also, historic versions of this information will be available in our charting engine, and so you'll be able to chart some of this stuff over time as well. At this point, that's not available yet, but that's absolutely something that we want to do. We are all about the charts. We're all about storing history of this kind of stuff and providing it to you. And you want to know the super great news? All of this is free. There's been no change whatsoever in the pricing for this. It's all available to you now. So I encourage you to check out the symbol summary page. We've gotten a lot of great feedback on it so far. I know that some people are asking for additional data, additional things. We're going to be trying to provide you all the information that we have available to us. But keep that feedback coming. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think. Now, so that is symbol summary. Any quick questions on that, Rach? Anything come in yet?
Oh, I'm sorry. We've had some great feedback already. People really like the symbol summary page. And I do have a question from John. He says, perusing a few Canadian stocks, there seems to be some data missing, including earnings. Will that eventually become available?
Okay, so the keyword there would be eventually. Right now, we are focused on U.S. stocks at this point. The FactSet data set that we have is mostly a U.S.-focused data set. We're looking into other providers that have a more international bent to their data. And as soon as we can work out some arrangements there, we'll try and put that stuff online too. Our goal is to have pages like this for every single stock that we track. That won't be necessarily available immediately. So working on it. Okay, so let's move on to the main topic of today's show, and that is StockChartsACP. And ACP stands for Advanced Charting Platform, and I want to talk everybody through what that means, what ACP currently looks like, and with an emphasis on what are the new features, because I know many of you are probably familiar with ACP at least a little bit. Maybe you tried it out a while ago. Maybe you haven't tried it out since. And so I want to maybe give you a sense of when to try things. And what the new things would be. We still get a lot of questions about when is it going to be released. Well, in a sense, it's released now. It's not officially released. We still haven't. There's still two key features that we're adding. I'll show you what those are in just a second. But there are a lot of features that are already in place, and so I can basically say it's released now. Once all the features are in, we'll have a big press release and make a big announcement and whatever else. But I mean, for you guys, it's basically available now. So that's really nice. Every week, there is tons of progress. The people working on this stuff are working continuously. They're working really hard. They're doing a great job. And every Friday, they release a new version of this thing with either some tweaks or maybe some major feature added as well. We're changing things up now. And so when you start ACP, if it's not happening immediately, it'll happen next week. You'll start to see a splash screen that shows you exactly what the new features are each time you sign in. And so we'll make it more available and more visible as to what these new features are each time you start up the program. The latest version, of course, is at this URL here, StockCharts.com/ACP, or you can just click the green button or use the drop-down. I'm going to demonstrate some of that here in just a second. Maybe one of the coolest features that's now available you might not be aware of is you can now look at your SharpCharts chart lists, the chart list that you've saved using our regular system. All those charts are now available to you in ACP. And so I'll demonstrate that as well. So that's really going to help. Some other questions we get are, how much is it going to cost? Do I have to change my subscription? Any of that stuff. ACP, just like the symbol summary page, totally free. We're adding it to your existing subscription. You don't need to pay us any additional money. It's going to work exactly like SharpCharts. It's going to have all the same kinds of capabilities as SharpCharts has. And so if you're comfortable with where you are with a subscription in StockCharts, you're going to be ACP is just an additional tool for you. There's no additional things for you to worry about or sign up for. And that's true even if you're not a member of StockCharts. There will be, just like there is a free version of SharpCharts, there is going to be a free version of ACP that will always be available. It will have restrictions on it, of course, but it will be available. So members will, of course, be able to go and do much more, such as seeing multiple charts. They'll be able to save layouts. They'll be able to save charts. They'll be able to see more data. It's exactly the same as with SharpCharts. If you need to actually do real work with it, you probably will need a membership in order to do that. But the bottom line is there's no additional cost for ACP above and beyond our current membership. Now, the third question we get a lot is, okay, is ACP going to replace SharpCharts? Is ACP going to kind of invalidate all this work that I've done to save all these charts and chart lists into my account? And the answer is absolutely not. SharpCharts is not going away. ACP is not replacing SharpCharts. ACP is augmenting SharpCharts. It's augmenting StockCharts. And it depends on your approach to investing, your approach to charting as to which tool will work best for you. It's absolutely possible to switch back and forth between the tools with very little limitations there. Or you may decide that you're going to use one tool and you're just going to stick with it. It's totally fine. We support both of those models, and we will continue to support both of those models going forward. The difference is essentially that ACP is a very interactive environment. It's an environment for people that want to touch the data, touch the charts, move the charts around, maybe watch the charts like a hawk because they're active traders or because they're really into getting into the trading market. Whereas SharpCharts, on the other hand, is more of a curated environment. It's a place where you're watching the chart that you've saved and annotated and put into a kind of a collection that you want to observe over time and see how that changes over time. Maybe you want to write commentary about it. Maybe you want to cut and paste it into another document because, of course, SharpCharts are very easy to do that with, so on and so forth. But not everyone wants to work in that mode all the time. Sometimes they want to be in an interactive mode. Maybe then after the market closes, they want to be in a more reflective and curated kind of mode. So that's where the two tools differ, okay? ACP will have all the features of SharpCharts, and it will actually have more than what SharpCharts has because it has a plug-in environment that I'm going to show you in just a little bit that allows it to expand well beyond the realm of what SharpCharts can do. So ACP will have more capability over time than SharpCharts, but the basic capabilities will be the same. SharpCharts will continue to improve over time as well, but it will not be able to do everything that ACP can do down the road. It's going to be focused on creating high-quality charts. You can easily be studied, categorized, shared, and published for later review. So again, that's kind of the distinction between the two tools. Hope that's clear. Hope that's clear. Did we get any questions on those those topics?
One question that we've been getting a lot is when or can we transfer our chart lists into ACP?
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate that in just a minute. It's a great question. Yes, absolutely. In fact, it's already working. You can view existing SharpCharts chart lists in ACP right now. I'm going to demonstrate that. Very easy, totally works. What you can't do at the current time is save ACP charts or save ACP charts into chart lists. What eventually, and not eventually, like very soon, you'll be able to do that. It isn't working at the moment. Now, when it works, however, there is one other restriction I want to make sure everyone's clear on. It's related to the question. While you can save a Sharp chart into a regular chart list and then view that in ACP, going the other direction will never work because ACP, again, has more capabilities than Sharp charts. So once we give you the ability to save an ACP chart, it'll be saved into an ACP chart list that's specific to ACP, and you will not be able to view that chart as a Sharp chart. So going that direction isn't going to work, unfortunately. But that's, again, because the ACP charts will have much more capability. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. I think as you play with the platform, you'll figure out what makes sense there, and it should work fine. So again, ACP, the A stands for advanced, and the A and the C, I guess, stand for advanced charting. Live, interactive, streaming charts using the latest browser-based technology. ACP is interactive because we're sending the program down to your computer, and then their program's running on your computer behind the scenes, creating all these charts and allowing you to interact with it. It lets you reach into your charts and adjust them interactively, and it uses our data and our indicator calculations in order to give you significantly better accuracy. And I'm actually going to demonstrate that here in just a minute. We are very much about accuracy. We understand, after 21 years almost, we're coming up on our 21st anniversary here, we know how important data is, how important data accuracy is, and we have a whole team working behind the scenes to really focus in on that. So that's another key thing that's important. So before I go any deeper into that, let's just demo this stuff. We kind of really need to demo ACP, see what I'm talking about here. So there are a couple of ways to get to ACP. It's available here in the drop-down. It's available in the lists. But maybe the most interesting way you can get there, and the most common way I think many people get there, is to click on the Your Dashboard link, and then click on the green button, Go to StockChartsACP. And when you do that, up will pop the last chart that you looked at. So ACP will do a little bit of saving, but this is just kind of a temporary thing as we put the final touches on the actual chart saving capability. The last thing that you look at will come right back up when you restart ACP. So that's kind of nice. All the different settings and everything will still be there. Okay, so this is StockChartsACP, and it has, I'm just clicking and dragging here, it has all of the interactive capabilities that you've probably seen. These can be very, very helpful for you in terms of scrolling back, maybe zooming in and zooming out. You can also quickly return, I want to point this out, you can quickly return to the most recent, the right side of the chart, if you will, by clicking on this button down at the bottom, this little kind of home button. This is the button that will get you right back to the right side of the chart and the most current stuff. ACP has a whole slew of information. Let's see, if I close this down a little bit, we can see a whole bunch of icons kind of existing here on the edges of ACP. And so what I want to do now is go over the different icons that are available, kind of show you when you would use each. The first icon I want to point out, the ones over here are special. These have to do with the mode that you're using the tool in. And several of these you'll want to change. The one that I love the most, though, is this one right here, which will go full screen. And that's a great thing about ACP, is it can take over your entire screen. I know on this particular webcast, my screen is a little smaller, but my screen back at my desktop, and hopefully your screen at your house, very, very big. And it's really nice to have ACP full screen on a really large monitor. You can do a whole lot of additional stuff that you can't normally do in those situations. And so ACP will take full advantage of all of your screen real estate. Really nice there. There are a couple of other things that we'll go over in a minute, but over on the left side of the screen is the ticker symbol box, and so we can change ticker symbol very easily by just typing in a symbol and pressing enter. Now I can also type in a ticker symbol and instead of pressing enter, I can press this plus button. The plus button will cause another window to appear. And so now I have two charts, and these charts are independent at this point. Very easy to move around, tweak, and do whatever I need to do with. And I can add even more charts to my heart's content, as many as I want. Pressing the plus button will add additional panels as necessary. So that's kind of nice. Let's see, we'll do one more here. I can also hold down, I believe it's a shift enter. Yes, and instead of pressing plus, if I press enter, it'll change the chart that I'm currently looking at, but if I press shift enter, it will add a new chart to my layout. And so now I've got 4 charts, and they're all arranged and streaming and everything else, and I can customize them as I need to, so on and so forth. The other thing I can do is I can change the style of a chart. Notice as I click on each chart, when I click on a chart, it has this blue border that goes around the edges. That means it's the active chart that's currently selected. And then I can come over here and I can change its type if I want to make it maybe a line chart. If I want to maybe make it a, I don't know, a weekly chart. And let's go down with a 10-minute chart. There we go. Line is fun, but I actually like area even better. There you go. So on and so forth. So I have these capabilities up here are basically the settings for the entire chart. I can change the range of the chart to a fixed range if I want to. If I don't want to do, control it with my mouse, and I just really want a, 10-minute bars. Oops, sorry. Let's go over here to a daily chart, and then I can do a 1 year. There we go. So I have that. Now, to get rid of a chart, I've got 4 charts up, but I want to get rid of one. We've got the red X that appears over here. We can drop that down. We have this. So I've shown you adding, I've shown you deleting, I've shown you the different drop downs that we have up at the top, and I've shown you this box. So that's getting there. Now the next question is, how would I customize the chart even more? How do I add indicators to it? How do I change its colors? So on and so forth. So let me get back to one chart. And the way you do that is with a pull-out panel that we have over here. We have pull-out panels on the left and we have pull-out panels on the right. You can only look at one at a time, but that's okay. That's all you need. The pull-out panel at the top left is the one that allows you to change the indicators that are on the chart. You can add new indicators, you can delete old indicators, you can change the indicators around. Before I fully show you that, I do want to show you a new feature. This is something that new people might not or old people might not even know exists. We've made the legends on the indicators draggable. And so that means you can mouse over one of the legends, you can click and hold down, and now I'm pulling this particular indicator up higher, and I can move it above or below the chart as necessary. I can move it above and below other indicators as necessary, and I can do what I just did there, which is I made the indicator overlay. And so now these two indicators are inside the same panel. I can separate that out if I want to as well. There we go, now they're separate. So this new overlay capability is actually something we added just last week. Very exciting. It mimics exactly what Sharp Charts can do and gives us a lot of that capability. Indicators are available to be added here. So if I want to add, and there are lots and lots of indicators here, if I want to add any of them, these are all the same ones that we have in Sharp Charts. It's very easy. I can just simply say, give me standard deviation, and then it's popped up, and there's standard deviation down here. I can say, give me stochastic RSI, give me tricks, the ulcer index, sure, give me a whole bunch. Now, I've got a whole bunch of indicators on this chart. I can now show you another feature that is unique to StockCharts. No other tool that we found anywhere has this feature, and we think it's important. It's an example of, I think, our focus on technicians and what technicians are interested in. Right now, I'm in a mode that we call unscrunched mode. I don't know what the technical term here is. It may be full scrolling mode. And I'm able to see I've added a bunch of indicators to this chart, but I have to scroll up and down to see those indicators. And while that might be annoying in some circumstances, and if it is, we have a different mode. But in this particular mode, I'm saying I really want to be able to see these indicators and I want to be able to study them. I don't necessarily want to see the entire chart on my screen all at once. I'd rather be able to really, drill down and look at these indicators, maybe annotate them, maybe study them in detail. And so if that's the case, then I want to be in this mode here, which we call unscrunched mode. On the other hand, let's say that I want to see all of these indicators all at once. It doesn't matter how small they are. I just want to make sure I'm able to see them at the same time. So that's what this is. That's what this icon up here is. And if you click on this icon, then we go into scrunch mode. In the scrunch mode, we will squeeze all the panels down. We'll make them smaller as necessary so that all the indicators are visible to you. And it's your choice. You can choose one or the other, and you can actually switch back and forth between them really easily, just again by clicking on the icon right here. But that's the difference. And if you have lots of indicators and you're a technician, that could be important to you. I'll just quickly, while we're up here in the upper right corner, also this is the cursor, allows the crosshairs, allows you to see that. And this is something we call sync mode, which I'm going to demonstrate a little later. Your account information and some other stuff are up there. All right, just real quickly, let's get back. So the point is, adding indicators is done here with this panel. Clicking on an indicator to add it very easily. Deleting an indicator can be done in a couple of ways. One of the easiest ways is over here. This is what we call the skeleton of your chart. It's showing the chart. In this case, it's MSFT, and we have 2 indicator panels above the chart, and we have several indicator panels below the chart. We can delete these panels very easily by just simply hovering over them and clicking the trash can icon. Hovering over it, clicking the trash can icon, so on and so forth. I can also drill down into these. So let's take standard deviation, for instance. And I can use the gear icon to make changes to all the different parts of the indicator. Or, this is one of my favorite things, I can use what we call the speed settings to quickly and interactively play with the different settings of the indicator. So if I want to get a sense of what the indicator looks like as I change the period or any parameter on an indicator, I can do that right here in this by opening up this particular indicator panel and then moving the dot back and forth. I can hit plus, minus, so on and so forth. So that, I think, is really nice. Here we go. You can see the change happens immediately as necessary. I guess StockCharts is not super interesting. Let's get tricks going. Here's tricks. And as I change the period, we can see the effect that has and the effect that this has. So the point is that it's very interactive. And this interactivity we think is super important because that's kind of why you're not using sharp charts. That's why you're using ACP, is for this interactivity. So again, we're making that available. All right, so if you want to change things like colors or other stuff, you would click on the gear icon, and that's going to allow you to change the colors. You can specify, type in the actual periods if you want to type them in, so on and so forth. And you can, of course, just delete the indicator altogether. And so that's a quick introduction to this first panel up here, this first pull-up panel, which is essentially the indicators pull-out panel. Any questions?
Lots of questions.
Excellent.
Yes, and Woody, a shout out to you. Thank you for being so patient. Woody would like to know, how do you link multiple time frames, periods, on one page?
Okay, so that's jumping ahead to this sync mode capability that we have over here. Sync mode is right here. So let me do this. Let me get this chart kind of back into better condition, and I can give a better demo. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go, no, sorry, here, and I'm going to hit reset. And by the way, that's a trick. When you're playing with ACP, you'll probably get into the situation I just did, where you have lots and lots of stuff on your screen, and you want to get back to a known state. This second panel down here, this one here is our chart style panel. And at the bottom of the chart style panel, it has a button called reset. Reset will get you back to kind of normal, back to the beginning, so you can kind of start over if you want to do that. Okay, so the question was, how can I link a couple of charts together? So there's a chart of MSFT. I'm going to create another chart of MSFT. I've got 2 of them now. I'm going to make my first chart let's make that a 5-minute chart. I'll make my second chart a daily chart, which it is already. And let's take MSFT one more time. And now I've got 3 charts on here. I'll make this one a daily, week. I'll make it a weekly chart. There we go. All right, so I've got 3 Microsoft charts here with different time frames. 5 minutes up top, daily over on the left, and weekly on the right. And that can be really useful. If I turn on my crosshairs, by the way, notice the crosshairs on each one stay synchronized. So as I move, say, in the daily chart, the crosshair on the weekly chart is there, but it moves at a different rate. Oh, this is the weekly chart over here, so I'm sorry. There's the daily chart on this side. All right, anyway, the point is that if I want to, each one of these charts can still work independently. But if I hit synchronize mode, now the charts are working together in the sense that if I want to change now to, let's say, Boeing, I want to look at Boeing, and I want to look at Boeing in the same way. When sync mode, I'm going to change Microsoft to Boeing, and all of the Microsoft charts on my screen, not just the one that's selected, but all of them will change from Microsoft to Boeing. So it's kind of like I now have a template, and I can now use that template to look at a wide variety of stocks in a wide variety of ways. This is not unlike gallery view, if you're familiar with that on our website that we have. And I have that ability to quickly switch between them. But that's what sync mode is all about. So that'll help that. Other questions, Rach?
Yes. Let's see here. Will PNF ever be part of ACP?
Probably not.
Okay.
Maybe, well, I'll qualify that by saying I'd love for that to happen.
Yeah.
It is something that I want to make happen, but PNF has to be done right. And we've seen PNF charts done on other interactive systems like this, and it's not done right. It's wrong. So we're going to take some time and do it right. It'll be a little after we do everything else.
Right. So not in the near future. And another one, we had a couple of people ask, what are plugins? What type of plugins do you have to offer?
I better get back to my presentation.
And what would the cost be?
I better get back to my presentation so I can cover all these things. I haven't fully finished my demo, though. Let me do a little more demonstration, and then I'll get into those questions as well. Chart styles are available here. These are the same kinds of things that you're familiar with from the stock charts area. We have different styles for we have a bunch of sample chart styles at this point. I won't necessarily say that these are the best on the planet. Many of these are meant to just demonstrate capabilities of ACP. Over time, we will give you the ability to create and save your own chart styles. That does not exist quite yet. But at this point, you can use the styles that are available here on this panel and play with them and see what capability exists. Next item down is annotations. We have some other items down here that don't work currently, but will work later. All of that was to try and get over here to this side. We got a whole set of panels on this side, and these are the panels that are really interesting. I think these panels you'll find super valuable. The first one is market summary. And market summary is very similar to what you see on the dashboard. You're able to click on a whole bunch of different ticker symbols, all the different kind of indexes that we have, sector, spiders, so on and so forth. You can quickly find and look at all of those different things very easily. The next one down, however, and again, just to remind everyone, when you click on a panel, it pops up, and then you can click on that same blue thing, and it will disappear. The next one down is what I'm trying to get to. These are chart lists, and these include, they still have some demos that we have, including my favorite, which is Micron. I love this chart. Do yourself a favor, find a big monitor, and at least click on this Micron demo chart. I think it's wonderful. Anyway, below that, however, look, this is the new thing. This is chart lists, and I have a whole bunch of different chart lists here, and now I can click on any of these chart lists and immediately pull up a particular stock, and it comes up with that particular style. Now, my style for this list is pretty boring. Let's see if I can get a better example going. And yeah, so this particular chart had all of these additional indicators on it, and those indicators now all appear when I go on that chart. So the chart that appears in ACP looks very similar. Obviously not identical to my Sharp chart, but it looks very, very similar to my saved Sharp chart, and I'm able to quickly get and look at those easily. So the ability to view your saved charts, that's what I'm demonstrating right now. These are charts that I saved as Sharp charts, and they're now available to me in ACP. It's all here under this is the second icon down on the right side. Chart list. There are scan capabilities that soon you'll be able to see your scan results here as well. Notifications and alerts will be there. Active market movers, so on and so forth. Just a whole bunch of different, here's our top scooters and bottom scooters and so on. All of these different kind of reports are available on the right. So this ability, even ticker cloud, is available over here on the right. So I encourage you to play with these. These are, again, going to give you lists of stocks that you can chart easily. And then in order to manipulate the chart, you're going to be using the things on this side. So that's kind of the difference between the left and the right side. Now, let me quickly go back to my presentation, and then we will keep going. I know I'm going to answer some of your questions in this presentation. As I mentioned, indicator accuracy is super important to us. And the trick with indicator accuracy, or one of the most important tricks with indicator accuracy, is to make sure that you use a large amount of data when calculating your EMAs. It turns out an SMA is very simple. If it's a 50-period SMA, you just need 50 data points. But an EMA, you need much more data points in order to be accurate. And lots of things don't do it quite correctly. And as I mentioned here, they will skimp on downloading historical data into the client, and so the client isn't able to calculate things right. We work really hard to make sure that we're calculating things right in ACP, the same as the way we work really hard to calculate things correctly in StockCharts. So as an example here, we worked really hard. This is from a little while back, but this is the EMA for the Dow at that time. You can see it there on the screen. It used over 2,000 days of data to calculate that. Other sites, which will remain nameless, but you can read them on the screen, did calculations as well, and those calculations weren't even close to the same number that we got. In this case, it was off by 20 points. There are other kinds of indicators that are dependent on EMAs. So you're going, Chip, okay, it's just one indicator, they're not accurate. That's not true. An EMA is the building block for many technical indicators. And so you want to make sure that those match up. Here's a different one for the SPY, where not only have we used a lot of data to calculate things like EMAs, we also adjust our data for splits, dividends, and distributions, and we remove those artificial effects from the technical data. Technical analysis is all about figuring out why the stock moved from market forces. It has to be market forces that move the price. Anything other than market forces that causes a change in a price needs to be factored out. And we do that. Not everybody does. And so here's another site. They don't do it the same way we do, and they came up with a different number. ACP will come up with the exact same number that StockCharts does. We're working really hard to make sure that happens. All right. The question was about plugins, so I want to move on. The plugins are all about the P in ACP. So AC, Advanced Charting Platform. And when you talk to a developer geek like myself and you use the word platform, that implies that it's something that can be extensible. You can add more capability to it after it's been released. And so that's what we're talking about. When we talk about plugins, we're talking about the ability to add additional features to ACP beyond what the basic capabilities are. We will provide a whole bunch of technical indicators inside of ACP. All the ones that are in StockCharts will, in the box, be available in ACP. We'll actually be providing a couple more beyond that. We will also be providing a couple of plugins right out of the gate that are free, that provide even more indicators. In fact, a lot of the indicators that we haven't provided on StockCharts we'll be providing through a collection of plugins, each of which have a collection of indicators. And that's because it's a pretty large collection, and we don't want to put them all in to ACP if not everybody wants them. So you'll be able to pick and choose as to which plugins, which indicators you want to add to ACP above and beyond what comes in the box. We're going to be providing a lot of those, again, for free. Now, we're also working hard with third parties. We're in conversations with a large number of people that provide either proprietary or semi-proprietary indicators and instruction for using those indicators. Plugins are going to give us a way to provide that capability to you through the course of the third party. Now, some of these will require payment. There's some payment involved. The third parties have made these indicators proprietary for a reason. They think they're super effective, and they require some payment for them. But again, the choice is yours. And so we will be releasing, when ACP is officially released, we'll be releasing it with a collection of these kind of curated third-party plugins, and then you can make a decision as to whether or not those are useful for you to add. And we hope to continue to expand those plugins over time. Now, this was a mock-up that I did a little while ago, kind of showing you what a plugin might, or plugins might look like. Again, some of them will just be regular technical indicators you can add to any chart. Others of them, however, will take over the entire panel that they're living in, and they will make that panel display something completely different from what you might be used to seeing. So, for instance, RRG is something that we're doing. We do it now. We have it as another area of our site, but we will also be incorporating RRG into this platform, and you will be able to look at RRG charts, live RRG charts, inside of the ACP platform. So that's an example of a plugin. That plugin will be free. It'll be free from StockCharts. Similarly, we're also having a StockCharts TV panel, so you'll be able to watch my show inside of ACP. In fact, let me give you a demo. So this was a mock-up that I did a couple of months ago, but there's been progress since then. So I'm going to come over here. This is a special custom build of ACP. It isn't released yet, so it will be released soon, but they threw it together really quickly so that I could demo it for you today. And on this particular version of ACP, over here on the right, I have an icon called Plugins. Again, this won't work in the regular version. And in this case, we've mocked up 3 particular kinds of examples of plugins. We have one called the MA ribbon, which is a moving average ribbon. That's an example of an indicator plugin. I've also got a plugin for StockCharts TV, and I have a simulated plugin for the RRG charting. So let me just turn these plugins on. And that's another thing, is plugins can be turned on and off as necessary. So by turning them on, I've now added that capability to the site, or I'm sorry, to the page. And for instance, what I can do, I can add a couple more panels here. There we go. I've got 2 more panels. Let me click on this panel down here, and then I'm going to click on the TV plugin. And so now I have the ability to watch StockCharts TV here in this particular window. I'm going to click on this panel, and now I'm going to click on the RRG plugin. So this is still a bit of a mock-up, but this would show you RRG running inside of a panel. We're working hard on making this actually happen. So I have my chart, which I can watch, my streaming chart. Maybe I'm watching a particular stock, and I'm watching it really closely while the market's open. But I can also keep an eye on what Dave Keller is talking about on StockCharts TV, and I can play with the RRG tool. So that, again, gives you a taste of what we're talking about. The final thing I wanted to show you, though, was that other indicator that I added. So an indicator that I added via a plugin is the moving average ribbon. This isn't normally available. I love this indicator, by the way, and this will be part of the plugin that we release for free with StockCharts ACP when it comes out. I now have the ribbon capability, and so a ribbon is a collection of moving averages, and I have the ability to change how many of those I have and how far apart they are, and so on and so forth. So, and again, I can do that interactively here. So I can change the starting period of the ribbon. I can change, and there, as you can see the ribbon maybe coming in and out as I do that. And I can change the step. In other words, the distance between each one of the ribbon lines. I can make them really close, or I can make them really far apart, so on and so forth. In fact, if I should probably zoom out a little bit, and then you can see a little more of this. Let's go there. Yeah. And now you can see the ribbon kind of moving around as I make my changes. Probably want the step a little closer. There we go. I did another show on ribbons and moving average ribbons on a different deep dive. But so we've combined them all into one indicator, and that indicator is not normally available, but it is available as a plugin. And so again, this is to give you a sense of these capabilities. We're going to have a plugin store where you can browse the plugins that we have available and decide which ones you want, so on and so forth. And like I said, we're partnering with a bunch of really, really exciting people so that they can bring their capabilities inside of StockChartsACP. All right, where are we? I've got 15 minutes. All right. Let's go back and see if there's other stuff that I can talk about. Yeah, let me talk about the future a little more, and I want to have my big announcement here. So this was what I showed back in October when I did my previous show here on ACP. I said, these are the things that are coming. And I can report to you now, today, that we've done that. Indicator parity is there. By that, we mean all the indicators in SharpCharts are now available in ACP. Annotations, all the annotations in SharpCharts are now available in ACP. Overlaid charts, we just recently added that, the ability to take one stock and put it on top of another, that's now available. Importing SharpCharts into ACP, I just demonstrated that. So you can view your saved SharpCharts inside of ACP very easily. Those are the things that we've currently done, along with a ton of other stuff. What we're working on now and what we're driving towards is this bullet point we missed here, saving and loading ACP charts. So saving those charts is a super big important thing we're working on. Similarly, saving panel layouts and saving chart styles so that you have templates and you can quickly get back to a particular configuration of ACP. That's also what we're working really hard on. The rest of the stuff will come over time. And of course, the whole plugin model and all of the developers working hard on providing a rich set of plugins for you to use right out of the box. Also super important. Now, here's my new announcement. Check this out. We're also working really hard on getting trading into ACP. And not just any kind of trading, but we're going to allow and have, as part of ACP and as part of StockCharts moving forward, trading for equities, trading for options, and trading for futures. People have been asking for that for a long, long time, and we have been working really hard to try and provide it. We are partnering directly with a company called Tradier. You may or may not be familiar with them. They have also been super excited about partnering with us. We are working really closely together with them. I can't emphasize how close that partnership is. You'll hear a lot more about it in the near future. It's going to allow you to trade directly from ACP. Down the road, you'll also be able to trade from SharpCharts as well. But initially, we're focused on making sure that you can trade directly from ACP, stocks, options, and futures. In addition, because you're doing that, then we will be able to help you track your portfolio, visualize your portfolio, analyze your portfolio, look at all the risk that's involved in the portfolio, maybe decide if you want to make it more risky, less risky, so on and so forth. Those will all be done through a portfolio analysis plugin. So that's another capability of plugins, is the ability to reach in, see what you currently have, if you allow it, see what you currently have, and then help you make decisions about how you can evolve your portfolio over time. Different industry experts have different approaches to managing portfolios, and they'll be able to bake those in to plugins that you add to ACP, and then those plugins can give you tailored advice for your situation. Similarly, a different kind of plugin could give you the ability to do automated trading. That's something that's going to be down the road. That's not going to be immediately available, but that is super exciting as well. Instead of just getting an alert, maybe you'll saying that your stock has crossed a particular threshold, you could actually immediately sell that stock as part of that alert, if you wanted to. Again, this is all done via our new partnership with Tradier Brokerage. Tradier customers will get official real-time data for free, by the way. So you won't have to pay StockCharts for real-time data, official real-time data, if you sign up for a Tradier Brokerage account. There's a lot of other really exciting aspects to this partnership and where we're going forward with it. So what I'm kind of jumping the gun by giving you guys this announcement right now. We're going to have an official announcement in a couple more weeks, and I'll be able to officially demonstrate all this stuff. But I wanted to go ahead and just kind of spill the beans, if you will, during this show, give you a sense of where we're going and why I'm just super excited about the future of StockChartsACP. You combine everything I showed you with this capability, and now we're talking some really amazing stuff. So when? Soon. We're working hard. We're working really hard. There's a lot we've done. There's a lot more to do. But getting the demo of the trading capabilities in place is currently my #1 priority. So with that, I'm going to kind of wrap up the official presentation that I made, and I'm going to kind of open it up for questions. I know we've got a lot remaining. So Rach, what are people asking about?
There are one thing I think you did make clear earlier in the show, but for the symbol summary page, people were asking, well, when are you going to get options? What about earnings data, things like that? And in the future, we
Yes, the earnings data is coming very soon. That's actually, we have that. It's just a matter of getting some technical pieces in place to provide that. What was the, so options. And
options,
data.
earnings, dividend history.
Yes. The history of all that fundamental information that's on the symbol summary page is also something that just requires us to get some technical pieces in place, and we absolutely will do that, so that you'll see history of earnings, you'll see history of EPS, and all the different pieces of data that are on that symbol summary page. We want to have a historical database of that people can search for, not just that you can search for it, but that you can also scan for it. So one of the really interesting things that the symbol summary page alludes to, again, we've released it now because it's ready. What we really want to have happen down the road is the ability to scan through that stuff, and then you can write scans that combine technical situations, which we have now, with these kind of fundamental pieces of information. And so you can see maybe you want to scan for a trend of the EPS moving in a particular direction over time. You'll be able to do that. Not there yet. We're working very hard on it.
Okay, and
so you ask about the options data as well.
Yes, people are asking about
options and future data is something that currently the plan is you'll have to have a Tradier account in order to see that. And the options and futures data will be available inside of the ACP environment. It will probably not be available outside of the ACP environment immediately. Down the road, options is something else that I think the scan engine could do some really interesting stuff with. It's not going to be available immediately, though.
Okay. And this actually is a good question. Somebody asked, they have Microsoft Edge browser?
Yes.
Not the Chromium version, the pre-Chromium. And he says it's not working with ACP.
Okay, so my understanding is that the pre-Chromium version of the Microsoft Edge browser has been discontinued by Microsoft and is no longer supported, and they are encouraging everyone to move off of it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So I don't believe we'll be supporting that.
Okay, and Terry asks, will Canadians be able to use the brokerage or just us, the U.S. folks?
That's a great question. Every time we talk to anybody about data, our first question or our second question is, do you support Canada? Because we have a lot of Canadian customers. We love Canada. We're trying to support them as best we can. There's some challenges sometimes. There are a lot of challenges sometimes. The exchanges up there are not necessarily fans of having customers for some reason. But we would love to do that. Right now, my understanding is Tradier does not have a Canadian capability, but we're pushing them. They're interested in it. We're going to make sure, we're going to try and get that as soon as we can. Obviously, there are regulations and other things that need to happen too, but at this point, this is the boat that we're on, and so we'll be nudging that boat, as best we can in that area.
Okay, and a couple of people are asking with regards to Tradier, will there be commissions and fees?
It will be free.
Okay, that's a simple answer. Everybody.
It will be free for equities. Equities will be free. Options will not be free, but options will be very, very competitively priced.
Okay.
In fact, we're looking at being a little disruptive there. We'll see.
That sounds promising. In ACP, will breakout markers be supported for, say, indicator like a new 52-week high, along those lines?
There's no reason they couldn't be. They might be supported in a plugin that makes them more visible, makes them kind of stand out. We kind of have that now with the price channel indicator. So whenever something's at a new high, it'll be meeting its price channel, matching its price channel line. There's some other ways that you can get a sense of if something's at a 52-week high or a particular high designation. But to make it super visible, maybe with an automatic marker or something is something that we could do down the road for sure.
Okay. With regard to plugins, would they be able to use lines of code to do a custom indicator like they publish on TASC?
Yes. So very, very interesting question. Initially, no, but it is absolutely possible. from a technical standpoint. While it's not possible at all in SharpCharts, it's very possible in ACP because, again, ACP is running inside of your computer. So we are very interested in having user-created indicators capability in ACP. It's, again, not going to be something that's out of the gate. We're trying to get all the basic functionality in there first. It will also be true that we will not be allowing just anybody to write plugins that go into ACP. We are going to, plugin people have to communicate with us, and we have to work with them and get the API going and all that stuff. But that does not preclude somebody from creating their own indicator. So maybe they want to have an indicator where they take two moving averages and add them together and then divide them by, I don't know, the RSI or something. If you're talking about an indicator that's that kind of formula, that's basically just a straightforward formula without too much craziness, then yeah, we can absolutely do that. Anything that's a little crazier than that would be something that we'd have to work on a plug-in with, and that would be a more involved process.
Okay, and we have another question. Will Elliott waves be supported in ACP?
I love that we're getting all these questions. It's great. Elliott wave will be supported to the degree that annotations for Elliott waves will be made available. Down the road, there are programs out there that try to automatically identify Elliott wave patterns on charts, and those would be made available via the plugin model, assuming that we find the right partner to partner with. But just like on StockCharts, SharpCharts, you'll be able to quickly kind of using your own eyeball and your own and your mouse, you'll be able to quickly identify the 5 waves up and the 3 waves down of any Elliott wave pattern that you choose to see, just using the annotation tool.
Okay, and I think that's just almost a wrap. I'd like to thank everybody for sending in your questions. I really appreciate it, and I apologize if we did not get to yours. I will be saving these and going through them and try to reply to as many people as possible. And thanks again. I really appreciate it. We only have a couple minutes left.
Yeah, so in those couple minutes left, let me give you my 5, finally, I'll give you my 5+ ACP tips and tricks. As I mentioned before, ACP loves lots of screen real estate. And so get a large monitor if you don't already have one. Be thinking hard about getting one. The prices continue to come down on those things, and ACP is amazing on a large display. I wish I could show that to you in this environment, but I can't directly. I recommend always running ACP in full screen mode. If you use ACP and you like its interactivity, you will probably never want to leave it. And so that's another reason we're trying to build a lot of functionality into it, even non-charting functionality. We think people will want to just park in there and live there. Remember those sidebars that are open, they can be collapsed. Just click again on the icon that represents each one of those sidebars, and then you get all that screen real estate back. So once everything's configured, there's no reason to keep them open. Go ahead and click them to shut them down. When scrunch mode is useful when you're looking at multiple charts, it's not useful, I don't think it's as useful when you're looking at one big chart. So when you're looking at one big chart, consider disabling scrunch mode, and then you can scroll up and down and be able to see all the detail of all the indicators on your charts. Those sliders that I was showing you, those interactive parameter sliders that allow you to quickly change stuff, are super useful for learning what parameter you should use for a particular indicator. There's no guarantee you can use any indicators you want or any parameters you want, and these sliders can help with that. And remember that icon at the bottom that I showed you at the very beginning gets you back to now. So if your chart's all messed up, click on that to get there. Finally, experiment with those color schemes. So again, thank you very much for watching. I really enjoy on Saturdays spending an hour talking about something in great detail. Hopefully you can see that. There will be a replay of this show on YouTube very shortly. But with that, thanks everybody for this deep dive. I hope to see you again next time. Take care.